All right, everyone, welcome back. So, the Anaheim Ducks, they have won 6 straight games. Now, the Pacific Division has been really weird. I have already made like 3 out of the 3 videos on Pacific Division teams, the Kraken, the Sharks, and the Oilers. And now I plan on making ones on the Ducks and the Canucks in this coming week. So, it's weird because there's 4 teams right now that look really good. Anaheim, Los Angeles, Vancouver, and Vegas. And then there's 4 teams that are absolutely terrible, being Seattle, Edmonton, Calgary, and San Jose. It's really strange to me how that works. There's no teams that are in the middle. It just matters whether you're really good or you're really bad. It doesn't really matter that much. But regardless, Anaheim, that's who we're talking about today. So the Ducks, they're on a 6-game winning streak, and things are looking pretty good for them right now. They are 7-4-0 for 14 points, and they're 10th in the NHL. Now, prior to this 6-game winning streak, they were like 1-4. And it was a really bad start to the season for them. They couldn't score. That seemed to be their prime problem. Zegras, who we'll get into in a little bit, and some of the other guys weren't connecting. However, it seems like through this 6-game winning streak, they seem to have pulled it together. However, I'm still a little bit cautiously optimistic on, if this is for real and they're actually going to be this good, or is this just a fluke of a 6-game winning streak? Because we've seen that before. I've seen that before with my favorite teams. So that's what I'm wondering. But regardless, through those 6 games, it started off with a 3-2 win against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Solid win, overtime won. Then they beat Boston. They beat the undefeated Boston Bruins 4-3 in overtime. A huge win, a huge momentum shift for that team, which probably led them to the 7-4 win against Philadelphia, which was another team that was looking pretty red hot at that point in the season. Frank Vatrano, hat-trick. That man is just insane. The amount of hat tricks that guy scores is, like, phenomenal. Then he got a 4-3 win against Pittsburgh, so they went to the other end of Pennsylvania and got the win against the Penguins. Mason McTavish scores with barely any time left to edge the Penguins out with a win. Seems like him and Vatrano have been doing that a lot lately. So they go 4-0 on a road trip, and things were looking great at that point. Everything was looking awesome. Then they return home to Arizona, where they win 4-3 in overtime. And then they host another one against Vegas, another big team. And they win 4-2, beating Vegas in regulation. They gave Vegas their first loss. Yeah, they gave Vegas their first loss. And then they give them their first regulation loss. So it just seems like Anaheim really has the upper number on Vegas, and they've had for a long time. So it's just good to see, especially since the history between those two teams. But yeah, they look great. The whole team looks awesome right now. It seems like a lot of the guys are looking solid, and it seems like a lot of them have picked it up a little bit. And there are some underrated names in here that are really contributing to this roster. Now, again, as I mentioned, one of their problems that has been with them for a long time, and I've talked about it in multiple Ducks-related videos, is the fact that they just can't score. Well, that doesn't seem to be a problem this year. You got Mason McTavish leading the way with 11 games played, 6 goals, 7 assists for 13 points. Again, 6 goals right there. He's having himself a really good year, and he's not only scoring, but he's scoring at really important points too. You see in the game against Pittsburgh, scores with barely any time left to put Anaheim ahead, not Pittsburgh ahead. And then against Vegas, scores late to make it 3-2. And he just seems to be a really clutch player right now for Anaheim and is deserving to be leading this roster. Now, again, another guy that I mentioned who has looked very good is Frank Vatrano. Vatrano, I believe, already has 3 hat tricks to start the season. So he's looked awesome. Vatrano, 11 games played, 9 goals, 3 assists for 12 points. Again, just looking awesome out there on the ice. He's scoring at an amazing rate. And just he looks awesome right now. Overall, like he just seems really and in that first year too, like it didn't seem like that, but this year it seems like he's really adjusted himself and looks like a much more complete and better player on Anaheim than in previous years. Next up then, Ryan Strome, 10 games played, 2 goals, 9 assists, 11 points. Feeding the pucks a lot. Hasn't been scoring as often, but still playing a solid game. Centering Vetrano and McTavish, I believe, is that line. Then he got Troy Terry, 11 games played, 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points. Again, another really solid scorer there. Has been good for the past couple of years, but is still starting off pretty solid. And then finally, you got Pavel Mintyukov. Who would have thought that this guy was going to be so good? I mean, like, yeah, he was slotted into the Anaheim defense, which is a very weak defense on its own. And people were kind of, not like underrating him, but like overlooking him and not seeing him on that blue line. He's been pretty good. He has 11 games played, 1 goal, 7 assists, 8 points, getting assists up there on the blue line, doing what he needs to do in the back end. He's playing well, and for a defense like Anaheim that has been, perilous the past couple of years, like last year when they were dead last in the NHL, I made videos talking about how, they just could not put together a solid blue line, and Mintyukov has really helped that out. He's played really well, especially with guys like Jamie Drysdale being out of the lineup and all that. It's been a huge factor. Other guys that I think are worth discussing, whether they're good or bad, Leo Carlsson's looks solid. He's not scoring an insane amount of points. I believe he has like 5 points, which isn't like, amazing, but it's still solid for Anaheim and their standards. He was their 2nd overall pick this past year. You want him to do well, and maybe it'll be slow at first, but he will improve for sure. That's something I will expect out of Carlsson. They're doing all this with Alex Killorn out too. Killorn's going to be out for a few more weeks still. When he comes back, he was their biggest free agent acquisition. I'm hoping that he can, help them out even more because I hope they keep doing well. It's been a while since we've seen Anaheim in the playoffs, since 2018, the first year I was in the hockey. I was in like 5th grade. It'd be awesome to see them back in the playoffs again for another year. And then, of course, too, this has been a factor for a while. You got Trevor Zegras, 11 games played, only 2 points. I thought that Zegras, I thought that when he scored his first goal and was playing solid, I thought he was really going to pick it up. But since then, it just hasn't been there. It just seems like the offense isn't coming. He's not that good defensively. It seems like some games he's just aimlessly out there, and it's unfortunate. But hopefully he finds his game at some point and doesn't become one of those players that is just overhyped and overrated. Hopefully not. I really hope it doesn't come to that. Moving outside of the skaters, then you have the goaltenders. John Gibson and Lucas Dostal have both shared time in net with 6 games played amongst both of them. They've both played pretty well. Gibson 2-3, 2.67, 0.9, 110 save percentage. He hasn't been as ideal, but he's still playing solid in some of the games he's played in. Then I got Dostal, who's looked way better and was the rookie of the month this past year for Anaheim. He's 5-1, 2.8, and a .920. I've really liked Dostal a lot. Even though he has even though he's a larger goals against average, he's looked good out there, and I'm hoping that he keeps doing that for Anaheim. Always liked him, a great goalie overall. And then finally, to wrap this video up, some upcoming games you have for the Anaheim Ducks. They play Pittsburgh, they play Philadelphia, I believe those players are coming to town. I think they're coming to Anaheim, so they wrap up that series. Then they play San Jose, which hopefully, knock on wood, should be an easy game for them. They play Nashville then. Then their schedule gets a little bit difficult with Colorado and Florida. Then they play St. Louis, and then they play Montreal. So that's basically the month of November that takes them up to American Thanksgiving. So the hope is they'll keep this going. Obviously, they're going to lose in between there. Probably with the way that I'm saying this, they're going to lose against Pittsburgh because that's just how the luck I am. Talking about winning streaks like this, they usually lose right afterwards. But yeah, I like the way Anaheim's playing, and it'd be awesome to see them back in the playoffs again. Again, with the roster they have a very exciting team. The NHL's better in California when you have more California teams in there. I remember the days of where all 3 California teams would make the playoffs, and all the other teams like Calgary, Edmonton, and such, they'd all miss. I remember those days, and although it stinks to not see those other teams in the playoffs, it'd be nice to see all 3 California teams back in the playoffs. San Jose is going to take a while, and LA's been in there for a while now. It'd be a hope that Anaheim maybe makes it there this year. It's not the expectation for me, at least, but I'd love to see it. But regardless, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, down below. I really appreciate it. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.